course, every time I say that, they decided to go quiet. Timing. So not nearly like watching a lion at a kill. Laura, no. D'Artagnan is not a king cheetah. Absolutely not. So a king cheetah is a sort of a genetically slightly different cheetah, where it's got an excessive amount of melanin, and as a result, instead of having spots, it's got these incredibly large black blotches that are almost similar to stripes. Their colouring is much, much darker. They tend to be a little bit larger. It is a recessive gene, and it's quite rare to see in the wild. There have been a lot of breeding attempts to artificially increase the number of king cheetah, which is an odd thing to do because, I mean, it's a naturally occurring gene, and nature sorts herself out far better than human beings can. So to try and breed the king cheetah and pretend it's an endangered species, all cheetah are endangered. And that gene will express itself when and where nature chooses to allow it to express itself. But no, he's not a... There you go. It's not quite like listening to lions fight, is it? Little squeaks and growls. You will hear the sound of another vehicle starting up as well. That, of course, is because we're in a reserve and there are tourists that come and view these sites. Jason, I often wondered this when I've watched them feed. So you want to know if they're taking turn watching for lions. I think it's a combination of two factors. I think that they are vigilant, and I think that sorry, Jason. You see, he is dominant, D'Artagnan, when he wants to be. That was submissive body language from the cheetah on the right. Yes, in a way, I think they take turns looking for predators or scavengers. But to be honest with you, I think that's really more of a fact that they actually have fed so fast that every now and again they need a bit of a break, just to let the food settle a little bit. And then, as an added advantage, it allows them to sit and watch and keep an eye out. But who knows? I mean, we can't read their minds. So it might be that they have a planned out system of sentries. I don't think so. I think it's more just they're tired and they're stuffed, and they need to take a little bit of a break so that they can eat more. You can see now all three sitting up, breathing very, very rapidly, because that whole process, when they fill their stomachs like that, first of all, the stomach very rapidly expands, so it presses up against the lungs, which means that their breaths are naturally shallower. And then at the same time, it's also releasing a huge amount of heat, and if you factor in the chase as well, they get very, very hot very quickly, and that's why they're panting that way. This has been a truly extraordinary morning. It is time, I think this time, I really mean it this time, I think it's time to say goodbye to those of you joining us for this action broadcast. It's been spectacular, and I really do hope that we can share more amazing moments with these fantastic cheetah in the future. Thank you for joining us. Faith, can I just say, as we are return to our regular viewers as well, or just return our attention solely to you, can I just say that Faith saved me there from what was nearly a very, very bad call. So well done, Faith, for keeping the action broadcast going. I would have been furious with myself if we hadn't managed that. I'm just going to take a sip of water, because My poor larynx is now a little overworked. Okay, right, while we watch these male cheetah feed and tuck into their very well-deserved wildebeest meal, what we're going to do is send you across to Tristan. We've been keeping you away from Mr. T, and I think it's time you go and enjoy a little bit of time spent in his enormous company.
Hell and back to get with him and stay with him, and he's now settled down a little bit. He's decided it's time to roll in some buffalo dung, so he's been covered his whole face in it. His neck is all brown now as well on one side. His tongue at one point was black brown. There you go, you can see all the buffalo dung on his dewlap and the side of his face. He's a little dirty now, and the reason why they do that is often just to cover their scent a little bit. So they roll around in that buffalo dung, it masks their scent, and when they're hunting and moving around, it obviously helps for them to be able to kind of not get seen and not get smelt, particularly in windy days like today. Right, well, let's try and keep up with him. We're going to try and follow him for a little bit longer, because unfortunately we are now heading towards the Buffelshoek cut line, and so he is going to go north towards Buffelshoek. But there is also good news, because we have another surprise for you a little bit later. Once he crosses into Buffelshoek, we have something else that I want to show all of you, which will be quite nice. It seems as though it's going to be one of those epic mornings on Djuma where there's just stuff happening all over the place. I believe hyena den is also still active and various other things taking place. So, but for now, our attention will be on Tingana and what he's getting up to. He's still sniffing around quite a lot. He's kind of sitting and smelling and looking and trying to just kind of work out what it is that he's smelling. I don't know if it's the buffalo or he's picking up the scent of potentially another leopard. I'm not 100% sure. I've been trying to kind of look as we've been going what maybe has been on the ground, but it just seems as though he's following the scent of maybe something that walked there. So in my mind, I think it must be another leopard. Now, when we were trying to find the buffalo earlier, I was saying that I had male leopard tracks, and those male leopard tracks are not far from where we are now. We're heading straight north towards where those male leopard tracks are, and I'm 100% sure that they're Mvula's tracks. I know where Mvula was 2 days ago, was just north, and they've come out exactly where he had his civet kill and onto our side and then walked west, which is a typical route that Mvula would take. Also, we've seen that Tingana has come from the south, so he came from quarantine side, which means that he can't have walked on this fire break area going west, and so maybe that's who he's picking up the scent of. Maybe he's picking up the scent of Mvula, and that's why he's kind of so intently sniffing and looking all the time. The problem with this area, though, is that the elephants have had an absolute field day here, and there's lots of big holes, and we can get through there, holes and various other stumps and things that are all over the place, and so it's been a bumpy, rocky road to get here. I suppose not rocky, but stump-filled road. But still awesome. It's been such a cool experience to follow Tingana again. It's been a long time since I've spent a lot of time with him. We generally get these fleeting glimpses of our last-minute leopard, and for once, he's not been that way. He's not arrived at the last second, and we've not just got a brief glimpse of him. For once, he's actually become an individual that we can kind of spend a bit of time with and actually watch and see how he goes. Now, there's a number of sort of undulating little areas here. I wonder if this is not an area where a few aardvarks have been, and maybe that's why he's coming and sniffing around. Maybe he's smelt something here that he wants to come and have a little look and see if there's anything in these burrows or holes. It seems as though he's not too interested, though. Now, the more I look at this his back leg and his wound and the blood around his neck, the more I think that it potentially was something like a warthog that just nicked him on the back of the leg. It doesn't really look like there's any other bite marks, so I would imagine that there's some sort of kind of nick that's just been taken there, and that's a typical kind of warthog tusk blow that you would see on the back, obviously. And we know that he's a massive hunter of warthogs. He's often going after them, so it would make sense. And the fact that there's no other bite marks or cuts or scrapes anywhere on him. I've looked around his face, I looked on his neck where there was blood. It seems as though nothing there, so I wonder if he didn't go after maybe a young warthog and the mother or one of the males managed to get him from behind and just nick him on the back there. It seems more of like a laceration wound than an actual bite wound from a cat. Generally with cat wounds you'll find the puncture mark of the canine somewhere on that general vicinity of the body, whereas you can see this individual doesn't really have that. He doesn't have any bite marks anywhere else. There's no claw marks anywhere else. It just seems like a little bit of a laceration from maybe a warthog. You never know. Right, well, let's just try and keep up with him now because he's starting to move. Yeah, Rock, you're asking if I've ever encountered a leopard coalition similar to the 5 males in the Mara. Well, firstly, the 5 males in the Mara are cheetah and not leopard, so it's a bit of a different species, but no, I've never even heard or ever had any sort of sign of a male leopard coalition. It's something that I would love to see and I wish that we would get, but at this stage, no, I've never seen it and I don't think it's ever been recorded. So, now why is Tingana coming back towards us? No. Oh, Wendy doesn't want to go that way today, so we're going to have to go back. I think we're in too much of a ditch. There we go, the ground gave way a little bit. That's why we're not going to go anywhere, because it's too steep for Wendy to go. But Tingana's coming back to us anyway, so there's no need to worry. He's just moving straight towards us. I don't know what he's doing. His movement today is so irregular. He's not following a sort of set path. His general movement, I suppose, is northwards, but he keeps going east-west, and back and forth all the time. You can see he's literally just turned around and come back exactly the same way as he's just gone. So I don't know what he's smelling. Nose down in the ground again, and there's a big breeze that is pushing from the east to the west, and so he was west of whatever he's smelling there, and you can see, look, he's phlegm and grimacing, so he's definitely picked up that there is some sort of individual leopard that is here that he wants to try and smell and work out. And look, he's scent marking over it now, so he's obviously realized, hang on a second, this is a leopard here, I need to scent mark, I need to show who I am. So whether it's a female that's in estrus or it's a male, he's now just showing that I am the dominant individual here. So if it's a female, she'll know that the dominant male's walked past here and that he is around. If it's another male that's scent marked there, you know, is, hang on a second, I've got competition in this area. So that is as defying a statement as a leopard could ever make to another leopard. Right, Vildy, how are we going to get out of here? Brute force. I like your idea, but that's too big a hole. But backwards brute force. Perfect. Spaz, you're asking if I would say Tingana is hungry given how thin he's looking. Well, I mean, yes, he is hungry, most certainly, but you'll be surprised at how thin, how quickly his condition changes. So he might look thin right now, but if you give him an Impala, then he'll be fine. But he was just come off a kill. He had a kill 2 days ago, so it's amazing how fast he digests, and I suppose, yes, he is hungry and he'll take an opportunity to hunt, but at the moment, you know, he's more about trying to find whoever the scent is and seeing if there isn't somebody in his territory, because if it's a male, he's not going to be very impressed. He's going to be probably highly irritated that there's another leopard walking around in his area. And if it's a female, he might be actively searching, because it might be a female that's coming into an estrus cycle. We don't know. I mean, we don't have that same ability to smell, and so for now I think he's in a situation where he's just trying to kind of figure out what's going on. So hunting is not his priority right now, although once he's kind of worked out what's happening and he spots something, we might see a change, because he definitely could do with a meal. I mean, his stomach is sucked in a little bit, but he's not thin. I mean, if you look at his back legs and you look at his body, his condition is actually very good. It's just that his stomach is sucked in a little bit, but the rest of his condition is actually just fine. Now, just trying to keep up with him. He's really moving a lot, so it's difficult to kind of keep up through these thickets. Right, now, it's amazing just how quickly he covers ground. I mean, you can see all we did was turn around and he's nowhere in sight, and he's already moved way beyond where we are, and so I'm going to try and catch up with him, and while I do that, let's go back to the Tayla Mac and see where she is and what she's up to.
Well, it seems as though you've had an action-packed morning, which is very exciting, and I think that's pretty awesome to be able to see that almost every single day. Now, we've not having anything sort of too action-packed. We've got a very peaceful sighting upon us at the moment, and it's a group of elephants just walking across a golden grassed area. We're quite close to Serena. It's very pretty around here, and of course the odd Balanites tree. Now, for me, I think I always talk about screenshots and wallpapers. This looks like a good one, don't you think? So send us your best snaps of the day. Hashtag Safari Live. We always love to see them, of course. But this is beautiful. Actually, have a little listen to what's going on at the moment. You can hear the wind, of course, rustling. And then the odd birds chirping here and there. There's a couple of insects making a bit of a ruckus as well. But this is a lovely scene. Now, hopefully, what we need to do is we need to try and come down here just before a storm is brewing. This would be nice then. Now, Unkai, you're wondering what are the most common grass species in the Mara? Well, I've seen some herringbone grass growing up every now and then, but I won't be able to show it to you, unfortunately. A little bit of... I've seen some thatching grass. I just don't know which thatching grass it was. And then most of it that we're actually looking at is red grass. And maybe we can do that this afternoon. We can go through some grasses because the triangle's a little bit quiet at the moment. So maybe we look for some lions up in the eastern corner around the Mara River, which is what we did last night, and we were quite lucky. And then maybe we can do some grasses during the day. But the red grass, it's full of nutrients. It's actually the favorite food of the waterbuck. Funny enough, they enjoy it, and I'm sure the elephants love it too. It grows quite tall, so it's quite easy to pull out of the ground. They can wrap their trunks around it quite easily. There's so much going on here, and this is where I think bushwalks would be so important. Be able to get out and have a little look around and take back samples of the various flowers and grasses like we normally do in the Sabi sand and identify them that way. It's quite difficult to do it from the vehicle, and unless you've got an Askari in the car, you can't actually get out unless you're at a designated point or you're having mechanical issues within reason. So that's something we can maybe try and do, even if it's just around camp. You can find the same species and then have a look at them. But this is lovely. But what we're going to do now is, because we've had absolutely no luck with lions down this end, we were hoping to either find the sausage tree prides, we were hoping to either find the salt licks or the Egyptian goose pride, but nothing. I'm also now, let me see if I can get out of here easy enough, a bit slippery. So, it's a tough one. Do we go searching for lions? Or do we go and do sort of river drive and have a look for some other smaller things? Maybe a bit of both, we'll see. When I came down this road the other day, I thought closer towards Serena, I thought I'd actually seen Scar. I think I told you that a few times. So it'd be nice to see if it was him and if he is still about. Looked like he was mating with a female. So if it was, maybe they won't be too far. But for now, it's fairly quiet. I think pretty much the elephants are the only ones that are around out here, and a couple of buffalo. Okie dokie, but we'll keep moving. We're heading in the direction of the river, really, and we'll see what's around there. Brent is sitting with his spotted cats.
It's Malaika! And luckily, she's moved quite a long way from where we heard she was, but Sebastian spotted her sitting on top of a termite mound, and both the boys are here, and she is hungry and on the move. Isn't this exciting? They're the boys. Hello, little ones. Trouble one and trouble two. And you can still see that dorsal crest is very prevalent in the young males. Oh, they are gorgeous cats. So we had lots of misinformation. So Malaika's about as far from the Rongai Valley as you can get. We're down to the south of Lookout Hill. Actually not too far away from where we last saw Miale. So who knows, maybe we can see two different groups of cheetah today. Okay, now getting into the long grass, and I want to see what's possibly up ahead. the cheetah have been spoiling us recently, and, well, the 5 boys this morning and last night spoiled you guys rotten. Let's see if Malaika's in a spoiling mood as well. Anyway, I always just feel spoiled. What the... Faith, they're after something. Oh, they're jumping on Mom, who was hiding in the grass. They suddenly went into stalk mode, and I thought they might have spotted a scrub hare, but it was just Mom having a snooze, and then bollocked into by the 2 naughty little boys. Okay, let's get a bit closer. All of a sudden, their body language changed. I wondered if Mom had seen something up ahead, because I couldn't see her, but they were just stalking Mom. Hi guys. Hi Ryan. Ryan says Malaika is the best mom. She is indeed one of the better cheetah mothers in the Mara. So she did have 4, and I found out what happened to the other 2. They were actually taken by crocodiles while crossing the Talek River. So there we go. That's how she lost the other 2 cubs. But she's managed to keep these boys healthy and well fed and out of the jaws of crocodiles and lions. Oh, you can hear them purring. Yeah, that's it. Isn't that incredible? How nice is that? So of course cheetah are the only one of the big cats that are able to purr. Happy kitties. Oh, that's so nice. I'm just gonna keep quiet and listen to it. They are gorgeous, gorgeous creatures. Magic. As I say, they are quite hungry, so I think they are going to move quite a bit today. And in my time with Malaika, I notice her sort of peak hunting hours are between 11 and 2 in the middle of the day to try avoid the other predators, and that's possibly why she's such an effective mother with an itchy neck. Has long legs. Now, Ashton is wondering, do cheetah use the tips of their tails for communication? Yes and no. With cheetah, it is a following mechanism. So it's so the cubs will be able to follow mom's tail through the long grass. So because, unlike lions, which are heavily social animals, they use those tails for communication during a hunt. Cheetahs don't really do that. And also, the way cheetahs hunt, they don't need to be as close as the other predators, so that visual communication is less necessary, but and also because they're often solitary animals. Oh, hello girl, where are you off to? So I'm just going to drive up ahead of her. We're going to stop up on the crest. There are some Topi around, some Tommies as well. I actually might come towards one of these termite mounds here and pose for us nicely. Well, it's been a cat-filled day. I mean, lions... Have we seen lions yet? Can't remember. No, I don't think we've seen lions yet. We're missing lions. Leopard with Tristan, cheetah with Jamie, serval and cheetah with us. So, as spotted cats go, we're only missing the leopard from our side. We did see some lions earlier, but they were unfortunately in a very steep dip. Oh, there's reedbuck. Thompson's, Topi. Quite a long way off though. I'm just having a look in the binoculars in the direction she's heading. Now, of course, as they move along an area like this is a good area to possibly spook some reedbuck. And the boha reedbuck, they do like these areas. A little bit longer grass. Robin is wondering, if a cheetah was to lose its tail, would it hinder it a lot? It would, Robin. That tail is quite an important rudder when they hit those really high speeds. And the average speed of a cheetah hunt is over 70 kilometers an hour, which is incredibly quick, and they can keep that up for a long time, with bursts of speed taking them very close to 100 kilometers an hour. And they've got a very thick, wide tail, and that helps to not steer as such, but keep balance. So if they were to lose their tail, it would be quite a big problem. Malaika, have you seen something I haven't? Or are you looking at the same gazelles in the distance that I am? Far, far away. Now, of course, cheetah eyesight is very good, and they will often start their hunt from far, far away. Once they spot something, they can spot them from well over a kilometer sometimes before they move towards their potential prey. Jamie is wondering how you tell the difference between a leopard and a cheetah. Well, if you've been watching today, Jamie, it's quite easy. So cheetah, even though they are taller than a leopard, like Malaika is probably taller than Tingana, you can see she's very, very slightly built, and she has very distinct spots as opposed to rosettes, which a leopard has. Now, let's get around in front of her, and I will show you one of the other things. So, being more diurnal and crepuscular, cheetah have those dark tear marks down their eyes, and that is to help reflect the harsh light you can have in the middle of the day. However, leopard have a white patch under their eyes, and that is to help gather any ambient light that might be around. So here we go, we can see now those lovely tear stripes on a cheetah's face. The black going under their eyes and down. Now also, if you look at the head shape of a cheetah, it's a lot less robust than a leopard and far more rounded, so quite aerodynamic for those high speeds, and a much longer tail than leopards. And you can just see they're built more like what am I trying to think about, like racing, well, not long-distance runners, but almost sprinters, tall, long legs, elegant, where a leopard is a bit more of a sort of a bruiser. He's sort of built like a bit of a boxer, so much more thickly set than a cheetah. So she is slowly heading. There's quite a lot of different animals on the opposite valley. Behind her there, on top there's some Thompson's gazelle. I think I saw a Grant's gazelle as well. But she is heading in a good area. So we're heading almost to be directly below Lookout Hill at the moment. An area I've spent lots and lots of time in since I've been in the Mara, and I do enjoy this part of the world. Roshni is wondering, how is a cheetah's eyesight compared to other big cats? All the big cats have excellent eyesight, Roshni, and are able to pick up movement at a long distance away. A cheetah, however, because of their hunting strategy, will take notice of what they see, even if it is a very long way away. Okay, well, let's keep up with them. I wonder where Miale went, because she was just over this next hill here when we left her. Now, female cheetahs don't have territory. They will fight sometimes Okay, hang on. They've changed body language. I don't know what they've seen. There might be something closer in the grass. Let's just have a look. Could be a scrub hare. Just wait a second to see what they do. There was a sudden change in body language. She became sort of almost into the stalk mode. No. Whatever it is, it wasn't enough to hold their interest for too long. So they're going to keep moving. We're going to stick with them while we do that. Tayla has got the world's heaviest flying bird.
We do, especially here in Africa. Isn't this so cool? A Kori Bustard. Now, I've only just recently seen Kori Bustards. Remember, it's taking me forever. I saw them up in Mapungubwe National Park, finally. And I was saying how cool it would be to see one here in the Mara. And this is probably the best sighting I think I've ever had of a Kori Bustard, because it's so relaxed. The other ones that I've encountered were slightly on the shy side and kept their distances, and now there's a hyena also just running through the grass to the right of the Kori Bustard. You can just see its head just sort of galloping in the top corner there. There it goes down. It's going to probably come up onto the other side. Very cool though. It's a beautiful setting. And earlier we were talking about the elephants of the golden grass, and I said we need to get here as the storm is building. Can you imagine the sort of darkness, that dark blue, the grey clouds all behind this lovely golden grass? Even a Kori Bustard would be beautiful, sort of with that backdrop. They are really, really big birds. Now, I've obviously checked them off my list. I've seen them. I now would absolutely love to see them do their display, and I want to see one taking off and landing, because that I have never seen, and I believe that it is quite a spectacle. Sometimes it might sound so silly that I get really excited about a bird, but I really, really do love them. Now, Becca, you're wondering how tall is the bird, and you're wondering how much does it weigh. In terms of height, I would say males would be slightly bigger than the females, so maybe 1.5 meters tall, or so, just slightly less than that. Females will be a little bit less, maybe closer to about 1 meter, and they can get quite big. A fully grown male Kori Bustard can weigh up to 12.5 kilograms. But again, books may vary as depending on the book that you have. I've never weighed a Kori Bustard before, so in case you're saying no, it's incorrect, that's not what it is. That's what the books that I use all say. Zebra in the back, and that hyena is going to join the sighting again in a minute. It's getting there. It's actually also running around, hot on the scent of something, much like that Kori Bustard, trying to flush out some prey. Quite lucky to see so many big birds that hunt from the ground. Now, Jeffrey, you're wondering if they're related to the American Roadrunner. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I have the internet. I'm going to Google a picture of an American Roadrunner, because I don't even know what that looks like. So let me do that. American Roadrunner. Look at me multitasking. So, it would be quite interesting to know. Okay, let me open a picture so we can all have a look at what an American Roadrunner does, or if you've got access to your phone. Hang on, I have to do something very quickly. There we go. Have a look. You found the right angle. Is that fine? My phone is also very dirty. Apologies. So there we go. So that's the American Roadrunner there. Doesn't look particularly big. I'm not sure on the sizing. I haven't actually pulled up the statistics of this bird, but just from looking at it, doesn't look nearly as tall. So I'm going to go ahead and say no, I don't think that they're related. I've actually never really seen any other birds that look like that at all. It's an interesting beak. I was going to try and combine 3 words there, and almost like hornbill-like appearance, but for something else as well, called long legs. So no, I don't think so, but I'll have a look when I get back to camp, or when we're off for air again. I'll jump onto the interweb and do a bit of research and see what the Latin name is, and see if we can find out the right family. I'm trying to see if I can figure out what this hyena is doing. It's going round and round and round in circles. I don't know, it's bizarre. It's very interested in something. Let's see if we can see it again. It's just sort of to the left of us, and its head is on the floor. nose to the grass, basically, and it's smelling for something. I wonder what it's looking for. Quite interesting. It's such a typical movement when hyenas are sort of bounding through the long grass. That's often how we spot them at night. It's not necessarily even by any eye reflection, but just sort of by that erratic movement through the grass. And you know, yeah, hyena. Also always on the go. Very cool. It's nice here. Not many animals though, but the Kori Bustard and also that hyena and all the zebra in the background made up for it. You know what I need to do? Where's my Mara bird list? Before I forget that I saw a Kori Bustard today, shall we add it very quickly? I haven't actually added any more birds. I did see the pale morph of the paradise flycatcher that Brent was telling me about. Where is my bird list? Is it in this book? I don't think it is. I think it's in my other book. I don't have my other book here, I'm afraid. Okay, we'll have to add that later. Okay, let's carry on. Faith, are you still there? Oh, you are there. Panic there. I thought I was talking to myself again. This seems to happen to me on a regular basis. Okay, we're going to keep on going. And seeing as though we had the heaviest flying bird, we're going to go across to Jamie, who's got a bird that's quite heavy, but can flap its wings as much as it's like, and it's not going to go up into the air.
It is hilarious to watch, though, when they flap their wings, although absolutely they're not going anywhere, being the largest flightless bird. The largest and a flightless bird. We've got a couple of ostriches. Obviously, you can see it's very, very far away, but the reason that we started with them was because up until a few moments ago, the ladies were doing such an alluring dance for the male that's on the left. So you can see he's got much darker feathers. For our new viewers, that's the male, the black and white. And the females are a little bit browner in colour, a little bit more drab, but what they lack in colouring, they certainly make up for in body language. They were doing such a delicate dance, waving their wings around and, I don't know, sort of rocking from side to side. This female's now just grooming, I think, rather than trying to show off for the male. But it is entertaining because we often see the males showing off for the females and occasionally fighting for the females, but they also, within ostrich groups like this, the females will also display for the males. And they're capable of being very flirty indeed. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what's happened to our cheetah. I want to know something very interesting. One of them is still feeding, but the wildebeest is essentially gone. There's hardly anything left. And they don't look full at all. Oh, it's D'Artagnan. Of course it is. He's feeding on the rest of the kill. They don't look full at all. They've got bellies on them now, but they're not proper big bellies. So obviously, a young wildebeest is not sufficient to really properly fill them up. I doubt they're going to hunt anymore this morning. Oh, Dart, they just don't like you, do they? Or perhaps you just like a little bit of alone time as well. I don't know. But you can see they have entirely polished off the wildebeest, leaving only the head, the rib cage, and in a ball off to the right, the stomach contents. I have to share something with you, and don't tell anyone that I told you this. But the vehicle next door to us, the guests, not at the moment, they've left, they've since left. And I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that, but one of the guests asked if one of the cheetahs was wearing a collar, and the guide said, no, they've just got very fluffy necks. And then off they went. So, I think to this day that lady will believe that D'Artagnan does not have a collar. Red, to a degree, yes. Prey can perceive when a predator has already eaten, which is why it's less to do with judging that they're round-bellied, because I don't think they have that level of reasoning, but it's reading their body language. So when you see flat lions snoozing in the shade at the heat of the day, you'll often see impala, wildebeest, all sorts of animals wandering about quite close to them because they can see them, and they know that they're unlikely to be hunted. And in fact, you'll even see with lions sitting up and watching prey walking past, the prey still isn't too concerned. It's only when there's a proper shift in body language, when that stalk mode is activated, if you could use that term. I don't think that's a very good way of describing it. But it is, once that body language switches and they become focused on the animal, the prey animals can pick up on that change very, very quickly and very easily, and they become on alert. So they are capable of discerning when a predator means to hunt them and when it doesn't. Although these cheetah boys fooled me, so it's no wonder they fooled the wildebeest as well. It was amazing watching them run. It was like they had different gears. And when you think they're sort of running at full speed, all of a sudden that speed just doubles. Legs stretch out. Off he goes, marching along. Levi, when did they kill that wildebeest? Just under an hour ago. So they've been feeding for about 45 minutes or so, I would say. That's how long they've fed on the wildebeest. They'll feed until they're interrupted or until the food is finished. In this case, the food is finished. They haven't been interrupted by any scavengers, but that's how long they'll eat for. And that applies to pretty much all predators. They'll eat until the food is gone. It's not often that you see... Actually, funnily enough, cheetah are probably the only ones that might leave a carcass. In the case of, especially with females and small cubs, where they've taken the cubs to a carcass, they've eaten as much as they can in one sitting, and there's still food left. There's a chance they might leave the kill, just because it's going to attract attention and they'd rather get their cubs away into safety. We're going to follow on, just follow these boys to where they go and lie down, and then we're going to leave them. And I'm going to go off in search of Imani. That's what I've decided to do with my day. Right, while we go and follow our 5 spotted cats, Tristan has had, as always, wonderful leopard luck back on Djuma. Let's go and rejoin him with Mr. T.
So Tingana is still moving around. It's been absolutely fascinating watching him this morning. We've done loops and circles and back and forth and roundabout and all over the place, and he's gone everywhere with his nose to the ground the whole time. He's gotten quite hyped up at times and trotted. He's been everywhere, and it seems as though he's picked up the scent for somebody, but he keeps losing it, and then he circles back, and it would have been, I was saying to VM, if we had not found him and we found just his tracks, this would have been one of the most frustrating tracking experiences possible, because he literally has done circles and over and over and over again, and back and forth and back and forth, and we're right back where we basically not started, but where we were about an hour ago. So we've really kind of moved around, and I thought he was going to go into Buffel's Hook, and then he came back here. Now he's coming back to us. You can see he's very undecided in where he wants to go. Something is definitely disturbing him. He's done a lot of scent marking. What we haven't heard is any calling, so it doesn't seem as though he's too perturbed by it. So I think maybe it's a female. I don't know. It's obviously a big guess, but maybe it's a female that he's picked up, and that's in heat, and maybe that's why he's so kind of obsessed with trying to find whoever it is, because he's just going up and down and up and down. You can see he's sniffing absolutely everywhere. Anywhere that he can pick up some sort of scent, he's sniffing, and the nose is working overtime. Hello, Tingy. He's definitely kind of got that look in his eye like something is around and something that he wants to find. So he's on a serious mission this morning, and it's been intriguing just to watch his movements and watch how he goes about it. It definitely has not slowed down for 1 second. We have not seen him lie down, rest, or anything since you were last with us. He's just been moving the whole time. Maria, you're asking why his skin is saggy. So that belly skin is sagging like that because that's how far it expands when he's full. So when he eats something like an impala, that all expands out, and you end up with a situation that he'll have a big, full stretched skin on his stomach, and so that's just from years and years of stretching it, and that's why he's got loose skin. So if you see him on a meal, you'll see why that's all loose, because all of that will have been filled up and his whole stomach will expand and kind of be outward. And often Tingana looks like that. Often Tingana does have a nice big full tummy, except that this time he seems to be so busy walking these days that he hasn't had a good feed in a few days. You see now he's changing direction again back towards where we are, so he just seems so undecided as to which way he wants to go, and I think it's because he keeps losing the scent of whatever he's following. He's kind of nose down, follow, and then he loses it, and then he's got to try and re-figure out where it is, and so that's why he keeps doubling back on his own tracks. It has been fascinating though. Boy, have you been a real treat this morning. And like I say, it's just been fantastic to spend time with Tingana. Often our sightings with him are fleeting. They generally don't last very long. But this morning we've just been absolutely spoiled by a nice, lengthy, long sighting of him moving around. And I'm hoping there's a termite mound right next to us here. You can see he's just coming behind the vehicle at the moment. But I'm hoping that this termite mound is where he might decide to rest. It seems as though he's slowing down a little bit now. There's the back of the car, so he's going to walk underneath VM's backside. Sorry, Vim. There's a leopard right behind you. Is he going up the termite mound? Now you can see him just coming behind the back of the car again towards the termite mound itself. So I'm hoping he's just going to go and settle. There is a big hole in this termite mound. Oh, you can see that wound is quite raw still. Asking what females... Oh, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Now let me just reposition VM so you don't have the aerial in the way. Sorry, Vildi. Give me 2 seconds. So I just want to get VM so that he doesn't have to worry about the aerial. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? There is the Duke of Djuma as sort of royal as he could be. I wonder if there's not something inside here now that he's heard that he might dig out. Maybe we're going to see a similar situation to what we saw last night with those lionesses digging out the warthog. Seems as though he's sniffing around. Now there's another hole on the other side that he might go and smell as well, so it's worth just sitting here and just seeing. Maybe he's picked up the scent of something in this area, but it really is beautiful to see him atop this mound and walking around. Now Faith, if you can just repeat that question. I think you said Megan, I think it was from Megan, and asking what females could potentially be in this area. So Megan, in terms of what females could potentially be in this area, difficult to say. We're in an area that I haven't spent much time recently, and I'm not sure which females would be moving here. I would imagine Thandi does get into this area every now and then, given that we found her on Mvubu Road and various other places. VM, I'm going to go back a little bit more. Sorry. The reason why I'm going to go back is so that VM can just see his face. There's a little branch there, VM, be careful. So there we go, because he's concentrating and kind of staring into the distance, and really is quite beautiful from here, so that's much better. Cloudy skies, a leopard on a termite mound. Does it get much better than that? I submit that it doesn't. But Megan, so Thandi might be around here, also in Chila. And Chila's a female that comes in every now and then, has been on Buffel's Hook, so she could be around here. Herbie often refers to a female that gets seen on Buffel's Hook. I have no idea who she is, and definitely I've spoken to some of the Buffel's Hook guys. They don't know of any females at the moment that they've seen. They said there's one skittish one right on the far east. Maybe it's that individual. Could potentially be Shongile, could be around here. There could be I don't think Shadow would come as far. That's really about it, unless there's maybe another distributing leopard that's coming out of the Manyaleti or somewhere there. But those are the leopards that we know, are those individuals. But how magnificent is that? Like I say, a leopard on a termite mound is always one of the best things in the world, and he is just posing as well as is possible, and he's using this termite mound for height at the moment. He's up, he's looking around, he's trying to work out, so his nose is failing him, and now he's relying on a little bit of eyesight and getting as high as possible to try and see if he can get some sort of view of what has been moving around here. And those eyes are full of intent, aren't they? They look as though he's onto something. He's not got that kind of sort of sleepy, dopey look that he sometimes gets in late morning. He's got this look of there's a bit of fire in those eyes today, and with that grass fluttering in the breeze, it's just a wonderful way to watch a leopard, that's for sure. Are you going to lie down? Way? No? Maybe? Yes? I think this is where Tingy's going to settle for now, at least. From here, you can at least watch what's going on. So, Wiem, hold on. Back to where we were just now, just so we can get. There's a nice little sort of grassy gap for Wiem here. I've just got to watch that I don't decapitate both of us with the little tree branch. So, Wiem, just say when for you. We're good there. Cool. So VM says we're good right there. So we're just going to level out the camera and get everything else sorted because we are at a bit of an angle, but there we go. That is absolutely wonderful. Hopefully this is where he's going to settle. I highly doubt that he's going to be here this afternoon. And the reason why he settled is because there's a hyena. That's why he settled down. So there is one of our hyenas that's come in. I'm sure one of our hyena experts will be able to tell us who that is. I would imagine it's one of the older females from the den site that we've have not too far away. You can see that hyena is also sniffing exactly where Tingana was sniffing around earlier as well. So Tingana walked past there before we came back to us and has been sniffing around in that area, and so I wonder if maybe there was a carcass here somewhere as well, that these guys are now also here sniffing and smelling. I suppose they've heard our vehicles clattering around, and that's maybe why they've come in to investigate. Hyenas often do that. When they have a situation where they hear a lot of noise, they will come and investigate. There's Tingana giving us a bit of the evil eye. Hello, Tingy. He's watching that hyena very closely, and it's typical of a leopard. When you can see he's not really perturbed by it, he's almost falling asleep, but he will watch the hyena very carefully and just make sure that it doesn't come too close towards him, that he has to be too careful. What has been interesting in this whole process of watching Tingana moving around this morning is that not once has he looked into a tree. So there's no ways that he's looking for a food item, which if there was a carcass here somewhere, he might have been looking up into a tree and kind of scanning around. So I think it's more that he's looking for an individual leopard rather than anything else. Well, that's what I surmise at this stage. I obviously might be wrong, but that's what I think anyway. Normally when a leopard smells food, it looks into all the trees as it's walking along, whereas he's been head down the whole time. But that is as awesome as it could be. Well done, Wiem. That's very cool. Now, I always say with leopards, when you get a look like that and they stare at you, it's almost as though they analyze the deepest part of your soul, and they kind of bore this hole into you as they stare at you. And to be able to get visuals like that, and to be able to be next to a leopard and have a situation where we're that close that we can have just one eye in a full frame, is just the most ridiculous thing. We are spoiled beyond words, and we have the most insane job. To be able to sit here like this and follow him around and watch this behavior is just beyond words sometimes, really. And I sometimes kind of have to pinch ourselves and remember that we are as fortunate as we are to do this and to see these kind of things. There's many people that have traveled a lot of the world and have specifically to find things like this and have not seen that many leopards, or even people that have worked in a lot of the bush environments of Africa and do not get to spend time with leopards like we do. So we're incredibly fortunate, and to do this and to spend time like this and to be in such close proximity of a magnificent male is really quite special. But I'm hoping this is where he's going to fall asleep. He's had a long morning of walking around. He's been busy. He's been up and down. And so I'm hoping that this is where he's going to decide to rest, and that he's going to flop down. There you can see his dewlap and his kind of fold of skin underneath his throat. That all just signifies to females that he's a dominant male, and also it will intimidate other males. He's got one of the biggest dewlaps of our male leopards here. Even Anderson does not have a dewlap like Tingana. Tingana's dewlap is really quite big. And you can see the muzzle, the spot pattern as well, the 5 spots on his right side, so the 4 and then the one small one just on top. So if those of you who are interested in screenshots and want to use them for ID purposes, that's about as good a screenshot as you'll get of the right side of Tingana's face for his spot pattern. But look, the ears are still working as well, and he's starting to show a little bit of age now. You can see his ears are getting a little tatty, lots of little scars on the face now, and he's slowly but surely he's aging, and He's remarkably kind of good looking for his age. If you think of Mvula's ears are far more tatty. Mvula has a lot more of a kind of a grayer face and looks a lot older than what Tingana does. So Tingana still looks good considering he is sort of 12 years old and has really maintained very, very well, and doesn't look like he's going to be stopping anytime soon. He's still big, he's bulky, he's certainly asserts himself as the dominant male by moving around a lot, vocalizing a lot, scent marking a lot. It's amazing actually how much he ends up doing. You can hear it's quite a quiet day today with this overcast kind of windy weather. The wind almost muffles a lot of the sounds. I don't hear as many birds as what we would have heard over the last couple of days, and it also just seems to be there's a bit of a sort of tension in the air. I don't know why. It's a weird feeling that's out this morning. Maybe it's because Tingana is so active looking for things and really kind of striding away, but you can see, look, it's grey, it's overcast. There's a wind and I can hear a hyena calling. So it's very faint. But that hyena is making quite a bit of noise, and it's almost like it's contact calling, like it's trying to find the rest of the clan. And I don't know if maybe it's calling reinforcements in for some reason. Interesting behavior, because generally hyenas don't call unless there's other hyenas around. And I'm trying to just scan to see if there's maybe something else in the area, but it doesn't seem like it. Just seems like this hyena is just kind of letting out these low contact calls. Yes, there's another hyena that's just come in. So that's why it's a little greeting that's happened. So there's a little kind of, hello, how are you, who are you, and what are you doing here? Now there'll be a bit of sniffing, and we'll probably find that once they've worked out, okay, we know who you are, you're part of the clan, then they can walk again. You see the tail is up. That's typical when they greet one another. You'll find that the tail kind of lifts, and they then sort of display to one another. And look at how that hyena is scenting. The wind is blowing from Tingana towards those hyenas, and the hyena's got its nose up, smelling in this area. And it's interesting to see Tingana's body language. He's also changed a little bit. He's now kind of watching a lot more carefully. When it was just one hyena, he wasn't too phased. Now that there's two of them, his attention is a lot more alert. He's watching very carefully, because if those two hyenas move in this direction, it's now no longer just one. One, he could have probably stood his ground and that hyena would leave him alone. Two might be a bit of a different story. It might get him a little bit of trouble, and he might have to kind of deal with that. And so he's far more aware that poses a lot more threat than when it was just the one. So that's why he's looking the way he is, and just making sure that he's not going to get ambushed by a whole clan of hyenas. At the end of the day, I'm sure Tingana, who's been around for a number of years, has experienced hyenas when they're in mass and knows that they're not something to mess around with. But it looks like they're slowly departing the scene. They're actually moving the opposite direction now. I can't actually see them anymore. They've moved away from us. So I think Tingana will hopefully settle down a little bit and not have to worry about being chased. And hopefully this is where he'll be this afternoon. I don't know if that's going to be the case, though. It's overcast weather, and we know Tingana just walks all the time, even during the day. And so even with this overcast conditions that we've got now, maybe he's going to carry on his morning's patrol. It's a long time until afternoon drive comes through, so it'll be interesting just to see. Now, I'm not sure if I still have comms with the Mara, because I haven't heard anything from anybody. So Faith, are you still there? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if there is any communication. I don't know if we've got any radio comms. Do we have radio comms, BM? I haven't heard anything either, so I'm not sure if we do have.
Welcome back, everyone. And it seems like Tristan is having a little bit of issue with his comms, and so was I there for a second. So we're still with Malaika and the two boys. Malaika is resting in the shade, and the boys being lazy and slowly coming towards her. Very slowly. They had a bit of a game, chased each other about, and then flopped down in the grass. Now, we are getting to an area where there are some potential food sources about. However, the grass has become shorter, so it could be a little bit more difficult. But we're definitely going to hang around to see what happens next. Ryan is wondering how far off in the distance can she spot prey from? It all depends on the terrain, Ryan. So when it's very open, she can see them from quite far. But in longer grass, you must remember they're quite low to the ground, sometimes a bit more difficult, but probably easily a kilometer or so. So she hasn't spotted the Tommy that we've spotted just yet, but she needs to come a little bit higher. And there's probably there's a Thompson's gazelle probably 400 meters or so away on top of the crest. Now I think they might take a little break in the shade now. There's the Tommy. But you can see it's very, very short grass, very open. So there's likely that the Tommy will spot them. And there seem to be a bigger group of Tommies around the other side, and you never know whether there's a baby there, which is of course a much easier source of prey than an adult male Tommy who's quick as lightning. Now they're all three now resting, plonked together. Oh, one's still up and about. Doesn't want to go to sleep just yet. Well, always trying to find the best little spot of shade. Now, as always with a lot of the big cats, patience, patience, patience. And we spend hours upon hours sitting with them. Hi, David in Napa. David's wondering, why don't these cheetah use the same tactics as the musketeers? Well, the most obvious and most important reason is that there's only 3 of them, and being a female, she's quite a bit smaller, so she has to use different tactics to be able to be successful. And she is very successful, but generally with much smaller prey species. So an adult wildebeest would be too big for her. However, a juvenile wildebeest would be perfect. Also, the musketeers are still quite lucky that the loiter herd of wildebeest is still around, and they are right in the thick of it with them. Whereas in the area we are now, there is not a wildebeest in sight. Just a couple of Tommies, some Topi, and a giraffe. One learned giraffe bull. Hi, Levi. Levi is wondering, do cheetah hunt more often during the day or night? Now, it depends on the cheetah, but normally more often during daylight hours or the crepuscular hours, which are dusk and dawn, although they will, if the opportunity arises, hunt in pitch blackness as well. But one of the things that poses a problem for the cheetah about hunting at night is the activity of hyenas and lions is far, far greater. So Malaika particularly seems to hunt right in the middle of the day, when she's got the least chance of losing her kill to hyenas or lions. Very, very still morning out here in the Mara. Beautiful. It's starting to get quite nice and warm. I definitely don't think Malaika's done moving for the day just yet. Romit is wondering, would a male cheetah kill cubs that aren't his? Possibly. Now, with these 2 young boys, they're getting to a stage where they're about to leave mom, so a male cheetah would definitely try attack them, just because they are potential competition for mating, or getting to become potential competition for mating. So yes, they would, but cheetah are not nearly as aggressive when it comes to killing cubs, etc., as lions and leopards. Hi, Anna-Marie. Anna-Marie is wondering, will Malaika's boys probably form a coalition? I would say more definitely than probably. Cheetah brothers of the same age like this, when they do leave mom, it makes so much more sense for them to leave together and form a coalition, as they'll have a much better chance at successfully defending an area than they would if they were all alone. Sleepy, sleepy kitties. Becca is wondering, what is the purpose of the dorsal crest on the young cheetahs? Well, it's far more noticeable when they are even younger, but it is there to help camouflage them in the grass when mom has to go off and get some food. So it's to try hide them from other predators, such as lions, hyenas, or even jackal when they're very, very young. Well, we're going to stay here, see what happens next. Remember, we could go live at any time when these cheetahs get moving. So let's go see how Hurdy Birdie McCurdy is doing on the other side of the river.
Hurdy Birdie McCurdy. It's an interesting one. Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? We've actually had quite a cool morning. It's turned out to be a fantastic day. So we had the most hilarious sighting where I couldn't even speak. My stomach was sore, and I have to show you a photo of it. It was so great. And I apologize, it's not the greatest picture. The light is terrible, but just to capture the moment, there was a big male baboon laying on his back. Oh no, hang on, sorry. There we go. And his legs stretched up, holding it with one hand while having his nether regions groomed by a female. And he rolled around and he pulled all sorts of different poses. It was hysterical. It was very funny. I had to show you that. I love the baboons. And then we actually, I forgot to mention to you, while we were down looking for the leopard, we stumbled across a hyena den. It was just as I think the wildebeest was being killed by the cheetahs. And when we arrived at the hyena den, it all happened very quickly, within a couple of seconds. The hyenas got a little bit of a fright, not from us, but from the den 3 feet away from them, where 3 warthogs came shooting out. I've never seen that. I've never seen another species den within such close proximity. I mean, I could understand some herbivore species denning, communally around one another, but to have hyenas and then have a family of warthogs living basically within the same spot was quite interesting. So that was quite cool. Everyone settled down though. And then another thing which just happened like now, also in a split second, we didn't see it happen. We saw a black-chested snake eagle. It's just soaring past the car, and I said to Craig, it's got something in its talons. And obviously snake eagles are notorious for catching snakes and other reptiles. It had a Coqui Franklin. It was clutched onto a Coqui Franklin, so that was quite cool. But when we tried to follow it and see where it landed, but it went into some very thick trees, so we couldn't get a view of it. So our morning is definitely picked up. Sorry we couldn't share them with you all the time. It's just one of those things. Very exciting. It's hard to pick from all the amazing content we've had today. Other than us being catless, which is okay. Everyone else has had their share today. Maybe this afternoon will be our turn to join in on the feline fun. Now, Greg, you've said thank you. Oh, not thank you. You said very cool picture. Thank you very much. It's not technically correct. I just literally snapped it so that I could show you what was going on. I actually tried to take a quick video, but I wasn't quick enough. And it was too far away for me to take it on my phone. Normally I would just take a quick one with my phone and then show you all. So I tried to do it with my camera but failed miserably. That's why I can just take still photos and Craig does all the video work. Hopeless. And it's just difficult to take a video with that. Right. Okay, so we have a chance to do a bit more birding this morning because we are coming up to the bridge and I'm still trying to get the African blue flycatcher on screen for you and perhaps a pale Moth African paradise flycatcher. They're both around there and I'm sure there's many other bird species that I don't even know about living in these forests too. So that is a certainty. What else are we going to do today, Craig? It's a good day for hiking, so I think we're going to go hiking today, which will be fun. Hopefully the whole team is going to be involved and not have any excuses. No, we're just teasing. But rock climbing adventure may be great. And then of course safari this afternoon. Very exciting days. And I mean that in the most sincere way. It really is the most exciting days. The fact that I get to do this all the time is pretty cool. Becca, you're wondering if rhinos are rare to see in the Mara. I actually just saw one. I'll show you a picture. I took a quick picture just to show you. They are very rare though. There are not very many of them left around here, but they're most certainly still around. See, I always feel pressure when I show you pictures. I'm going to be okay. Not great. Here's the rhino. There we go. So rhino, bottom left-hand side, and an elephant's bottom on the other side, on the right-hand side. It was very quick, though. He also disappeared into a thicket. They don't often stay out in the open for too long, but there we go. There's a rhino for you. And if you keep watching, Becca, you've got to be patient, because they do like, and do tend to hang around the luggers where the vegetation's a lot denser. You could see one. All these spots that we've been driving over the last couple of days have been very, very good areas for rhinos. So you never know, maybe we'll get another viewing of that fella that I just showed you a picture of. We can always try, but there's no guarantee that that animal's going to be in the same spot. We're going to move around and go somewhere else. Okay, here is today going to be the day we get the African blue flycatcher. We will try. Some dark-capped bulbuls that have just landed. Now, Jen, you're wondering, where do we go hiking when there's wild animals all around? We hike with the wild animals, and we're wild animals ourselves, so we kind of fit in very well. No, now those dark-capped bulbuls just keep bouncing away. So basically, where the Angama airstrip is a beautiful big gorge that runs to the west of it. We go hiking down in there, so we're not in the reserve, we're up in the sort of private sector, and we hike around there. So, you know, we've seen leopard tracks, see lots of hyena tracks. They're around. I don't think we'd see many lions up there, but the chances of us bumping into them are pretty slim. So there's a lot of the communities up there, so cows and goats, a lot of Maasai. I don't think the animals want to go messing with their animals, so they tend to stay around here. It's quite a far way up there, Scarfin too. But that's where we're going to go hiking, and because of all the rain we've had too, that stream is going to be raging. And I think we're going to have some interesting obstacles, and, well, we're going to have to climb them. We may slip, we may fall, but we'll be careful. We'll try our best. Anthony, you've said that you'd actually love to come with us and on a hike. Oh, I'd love to host you on a hike. It'd be lots of fun. Hello, baboons. Oh, all jumping through the water, splashing about. They don't mind the water too much. The baboons and vivid monkeys actually swim quite often. It's an amazing sighting to see, leaping off of the branches into the rivers and dams and swimming back and doing it all over again, just like the children would. And then, speaking of the children, there they are, running towards the back, getting left behind. Oh, there's some very interesting behavior going on the left. Now that shrub is in the way. It was a male, the one on the left. I can't see. I'm pretty sure it would be a female that he was trying to mate with. I just don't want to move because they are going to step out. And she's obviously been presenting herself to him. Let's see if he follows her. He is. He's right behind her, not leaving her side at the moment. And this is actually the second time now I've seen him try to mount her. So maybe if we watch for long enough, they don't just behind a bush. We might be able to see mating olive baboons, which I have not seen. I'm going to add that to the list. We've seen it many a time with the Chukma baboons in South Africa, that's for sure. So unlike with the lions and impala, use the phlegm and grimace technique that use a Jacobson organ to be able to tell if a female's an estrus. Baboons, males don't chase after the girls. The girls will end up presenting themselves when they're ready to the males, and not literally just walking up to them and swinging their rear end towards his face. And it's amazing how all these different animals out here have different ways of, mating with one another. Of course, frog mating is probably the most interesting. And then to see any of the animals. Mating birds, also very interesting to see. We don't see a lot of it though. We could learn quite a bit from it. Now, Tom, are you wondering if there's mandrill monkeys in the Mara? I haven't heard of them. Maybe in the forest, but I haven't seen any. I've only actually seen the vervet monkey and the olive baboon. I haven't seen the sykes, so I'm still behind on my monkey and my baboon species list. I need to get the yellow baboon too. You can see them in Zambia. I didn't get to see them while I was up there though. So that would be quite cool. Another one to see. Yes, he's very excited. Oh, there's a little baboon too. You see how she keeps really... Oh, she's got a stump. She's not really lifting her tail at all. No. And now he stopped again. Maybe she's not quite ready just yet. Maybe she's just teasing him at the moment. Yes, now he's sort of moving off. All eating all the lovely green grass shoots. There's a couple of flowers coming through too, which they will quite happily take up. Very nice. David, we haven't got any swimming baboons today. That would have been David Craig. What? I can't keep up with who I'm driving with these days, hey? There's so many men in my life in this camp. So funny. Oh, there they're all going up towards the elephants. Obviously there's something tasty around there. Let's go up a bit further forward. There's a little elephant that I can see. Maybe we can get a view of it in a little bit. Goodness. It's a massive troop of baboons. Might be two different groups, or this section here is just lagging behind. They have moved off, and there's another, maybe another 15 or 6, between 15 and 20 on the right. Okay, well, we'll see what other interesting things we can find that pop out of the bushes. Let's go back to Tristan. He's obviously sitting with a big male leopard, and we know he is the ruling king of the Northern Sands.
We're still sitting with Tingana, and you can see he's having the best nap ever. He's turned around and decided to face the other way, which is where the hyenas were, which has been perfect for us because there's not a blade of grass in front of his face now, and he's having the perfect nap. He's kind of sprawled over the top of the termite mound, his paws underneath his chin, and, well, that's about as tired and as sleepy a cat as we could expect after all the activity this morning. And so it's a perfect place really for him just to take a nap, and I would imagine that he's not going to be here that long. I think he'll sleep for a bit now, and then given that it's cool, that he's not full, that he might move around a little bit later. It's quite windy and it's getting colder by the second. In fact, the temperature is just dropping all the time, and so I don't know if he's going to stay on top there where it's so windy. I think he might come down and just curl up into a ball. You can see some dark clouds also coming from the southeast now, so hopefully there's some rain coming in. This is all a big cold front that's hitting us, and we were expecting it to arrive today, so all is right in the world, and hopefully Tingana, if it does start to rain, then maybe we will have a good chance of finding him this afternoon somewhere here, but otherwise I'm not so sure. I think he might move on and try and find somewhere else to go and establish himself for the day. And also we know that he likes to move in, and in this weather hunting is most certainly on the cards. If he comes across some sort of food source, it's overcast, it's windy, it's a bit dingy, and so a leopard can still do just fine hunting in weather like this, and they sometimes do take the opportunity to hunt during the day. Less hyenas around, less scavengers to be able to steal from them or other predators, and so maybe he will get up to a bit of hunting as well. He's definitely thin enough that he'll be hungry this evening, so if we can find him this evening, it will be good to be able to follow him around and see what he gets up to. But he makes me laugh the way that he's lying now. It's kind of his dewlap and his cheeks are too big for his paws even, and they're kind of folding over his paws. Oh, hello. Becca, very seldom will a leopard and hyena fight if there's no kill. The reason being is that they both know that in going after one another could potentially cause a lot of damage to either one. There might be a situation where they get injured, they hurt a leg or a paw or something like that, and so they try and avoid that as much as possible. It's only really if there's something to fight for, and when there's something to fight for is normally food and or protection of cubs. So if there's a cub or something like that, then you might find that hyenas will try to come in and kill it, and that will cause a female leopard to fight with a hyena. But for the most part, they try and avoid each other. Like I said, they don't want to injure themselves over nothing. It's not like they are direct competition for territory. It's more that they're just fearful of one another because they know that they are dangerous towards each other, and so that's why they do fight. But most of the time you'll find that the leopard will look at the hyena will look at a leopard, and they just go their separate ways, unless of course there's a carcass. If there's a carcass, then things go a little bit pear-shaped and everybody starts to fight with one another. But we are being afforded the most sort of intimate views of Tingana's face. He's lying so close to us on this termite mound that we're able to look at his ears in detail. You can see those nice nicks. So for anybody that ever wants to use ears to ID Tingana, there's a perfect way of looking at his left ear with the two notches that he's got. On his right ear, sorry. And then his left ear over there, you can see it's just got the one notch right at the top there. And still a bit of buffalo dung by the looks of it, because it looks a little dark and matted fur, so that's all from where he probably put his face in some rather moist, rather fresh buffalo dung, and there a little bit on his head as well, and then down towards that nose. And he's tucked his head down. It's almost just really quite sleepy now, and there's not much going on. The hyenas have pushed off, and every now and then he opens his eye when the wind gusts a little bit hard and causes a bit of rustling and a little bit of a situation where he kind of wakes up and just checks around a little bit, but otherwise he's a fairly sleepy individual that's taking it very easy. Look at the size of those paws though. Tingana is not a small leopard by any means or stretch of the imagination, but if you look at the size of that foot, it is massive, and you can even see one of the little claws sticking out there. So he's got a claw that is just not sheathed fully at the moment, and it allows us just to see the tip of it. So those are the weapons that he uses if he were to fight or even try and kill something. And then that big thick leg, and then you can even see the rolls of his dewlap all around his neck. And he's on the wrong side for his smiley face. His smiley face is on the left hand side of his shoulder, and so we won't be able to see the Tingana smiley face just yet. Very nice. The best way to spend a morning is to be with a leopard from pretty much early on all the way through. Now, before I finish off and sign off for the morning, we will just give the answer to our little quiz that we had this morning on our little piece of kind of grassy, feathery things. I believe there was one of you that did get at this right, actually, and it is most certainly a tail streamer from a lunar moth. That is what it is. So this was on my seat this morning. So some poor lunar moth unfortunately lost its tail streamer and is flapping around somewhere. So Laurie, you got that. Well done, Laurie. And I think maybe there were one or two others as well might have got it, but it was a very difficult one just from what I gave you. I didn't give you much to work with, but there we go. That's the answer to the quiz. So VM and I are going to head off now. We're going to go back home for breakfast, and so while we do that, let's go back to Jamie all the way in the Mara, and I believe she's got probably one of the biggest antelopes, and one that I'm very jealous about that we don't get to see.
So from a dewlapped Tingana, not Tristan, I nearly made a bit of an ambiguous statement there, to a very dewlapped, massive Eland bull. It's a lovely way for us to finish off our safari. And I've just got to thank Dr. Owen Davies for clarifying that, in fact, interestingly enough, that dewlap also plays a large role in thermoregulation for these big male eland. I have to say, thermoregulation has become a common theme in our interactions. Talking about monkeys thermoregulating with their tails, and hornbills thermoregulating with their bills, and now eland bulls thermoregulating with their dewlaps. That was a surprisingly difficult combination of words to say. It's been a truly interesting morning. What we're going to do, Ferg and myself, is we're going to go off in search of Imani. So stay tuned for our action broadcast, because there's a very good chance that we could be going live throughout the day. We're going to go and see what we can find. Go and perhaps check some of, well, I say, Imani's regular haunts. The place where I've seen her before, once. I'm going to go and check there, because that's about as much of a lead on her whereabouts as I have. Hopefully we do manage to catch up with her. No, Ramit, I don't think so. Looking at the massive size of these eland bulls, you can compare them to the Topi that are wandering about next to them, and you can really get an idea of the scale of the different sizes of these antelope. I don't think the musketeers would stand a chance. I don't think they'd even try with this eland bull. Maybe an eland calf, maybe, depending on how defensive the eland were of their little one. But I think a wildebeest is about as big. Wildebeest or a zebra are probably the largest animals that the musketeers would tackle. I don't think they would try an eland bull like this. In fact, I think even a lion might think twice unless they had numbers on their side. This is a really lovely bachelor herd. And nice relaxed eland bulls as well. Sometimes they're a bit skittish on the side of the river. But these boys are being very, very obliging. Lovely. A fantastic morning from our side. We're going to continue on with our day and go off exploring. Let's send you back across to Brent for the last few moments of the sunrise safari so that he can share his plans for the day.
Well, our plans are Malaika and the boys. They are still resting in the shade at the moment, but we're going to sit patiently with them to see where they get what they get up to and where they get going towards, as I am sure they are going to move again at some point during today, so it could be very, very exciting. Some heads up. There's not much small game around them at the moment, but that can change. There's always movement of game, especially in this area below Lookout. It's a very productive area, and after the rain we've had, there's lots of lovely green grass around on the area we are, not down towards that. There you can see there's a bit of longer grass still here, but we're going to sit. You see it, Tommy, still? There we go. Seb still sees it. No, not that. Sorry, Faith. Oh, there we go. A little bit to the left. So there is a Tommy around. It could wander in a bit closer, and they might spot it. You never know. Faith, I lost the comms there. Can you go again, please? And you can see it's warming up. The heat haze is there. Okay, well, we are coming towards the close of the show, and Malaika and the lovely lads are still napping, but they could get up at any time, and that's the joy of following nature's schedule. You never know when it could happen. It could happen in 2 minutes. It could happen in 3 hours. But we will be right here next to them when it does. So remember to keep a lookout for those go live notifications so we can bring you the best of Africa live wherever you might be in the world.